works. God damn it. This is the one thing it does keep doing wrong all the time, which is to move itself, which isn't very useful, but it's okay, we shall deal with it. I'll do for now. Alright, so you guys can give it a shot. I'm going to hashtag Erik in the chat just to see if it works. Hashtag Erik. Will it work? It is working. Okay, so you can hashtag Erik or hashtag Nice in the chat to let us know who you're cheering on today, guys, whether you're cheering on Erik or Nice in the first series of the day. So get those hashtags going. It does seem to be working, and we'll use that throughout today. I'll even maybe put some time into, I guess, you know what? Let's just do it right now as a Dark Shrine comes on up. Let me just reposition the display slightly to line up a bit more nicely. It's going to take a couple of seconds to properly figure it out. Something like this. And that maybe. No, that's not what I wanted. God damn it. Like that. Now it needs to go 1 pixel down. God damn it, then I moved it the other way as well. That needs to go up. God damn it! It's so difficult doing this. I wish there was like a way to move things more easily on expert. No, now it's actually too high up again. What the hell's going on? Oh my god, now I moved my StarCraft window. God damn it. Okay, we're just going to leave it like that for now, but you can hashtag Erik or hashtag Nice in the chat to show us who you're supporting, guys, in Group A, in our first match of Group A. Let's get to the game, though. It is going to be that Twilight Council Dark Shrine opening. We actually see 3 gates have been added on, so the 4 DTs will warp in shortly. Erik already playing somewhat, pretty well, actually, set up to deal with this incoming DT attack. He's going to have the lair up for the Overseer. I love this, by the way. Comes in, catches an adept with the counter-attacking Lings, because we do have the third Nexus taking quite a lot of damage. With the Overlord creep now there, the cancel means he won't be able to rebuild that for a few moments as DTs move towards the natural. But with an Overseer up from the lair and Roaches out as well, it is going to give a lot of opportunity here for Erik to be able to come in and to clean this these DTs up. However, 8 Roaches already going down. It's a heck of a lot of Roaches, drones to already lose. It's kind of crazy. 8 drones going down so far. Who we're cheering on and who do we think is going to win? I don't know, really. Because those are 2 different hashtags. Whoever you want to show your support for. I think that's the best way to do it, right? Because otherwise, yeah, whoever you want to show your support for. Because otherwise, I think it's, yeah, showing your support, I think, is the best way to do it. I don't know, I never really thought about it. We're still kind of using the vote thing for, I guess we've had it like a week or so now, but we've not used it too much, so we're still trying to figure it out and seeing what we're thinking. Lots of Erik love in the chat, a little bit more than Nice, as we do see these couple Archons coming through, and then it's going to start picking off this Overlord. It's going to go down here in the next couple of moments. Well, he's going to chase into the Roaches point, and he does get it. I want to see if the War Prism can lift those Archons back up and get out of there pretty quickly. But look, there's Zerglings coming in over here as well, and they're already coming through and dealing just a little bit of damage. As we see 5 probes going down. Still no third Nexus built here, and that's a huge deal, of course. Nice being slowed down heavily so far. And the 5 workers definitely help Erik to just bounce back a little bit from those 8 drones he lost earlier, and he maybe shouldn't have dropped super early on. We'll bring those hashtags back a little bit later on to see how it's going, guys. Do keep those hashtags coming in the chat. You can include your hashtag during your message as well, so you can be like, let's go hashtag Nice, or something along those lines, however you want to do it. So, do test it out. We are still kind of in the beta tests of it, so seeing how it goes, seeing if people like it. It's been pretty cool so far, as we do see these Hydras going to push this Prism away out into the center. And we are just getting set up then in towards a bit more of a kind of stable mid-game scenario. With the damage done on either side, the delay on the third Nexus, plus the few probes killed versus, the few drones that have been picked off, and the fact that he has forced a lot of units out here early. Generally, it looks fairly even right now. I wouldn't say that Erik or Nice have really lost too much. Maybe the lateness of this third Nexus will come into play here in the near future. We'll see how that will develop, as that Nexus is going to be finishing in just a moment or two. Forge on the way up in the main base. In the meantime, a Templar Archive has been thrown down also over in the back of this main. So just getting set up for the rest of his game with Storm. Whatever else he feels he's going to need to use. Obviously, with the Roaches early, we didn't really see kind of a Ling Bane phase of this game for the Zerg player. And he sort of just bypassed straight into Roach Hydra rather than going for the more commonly used nowadays Ling Bane Hydra. So playing Roach Hydra instead, it means that Storm is not necessarily going to be as useful. Storm is awesome against pure Hydras, awesome against Banes as they roll on in. Against Roaches, they're a little bit more tanky. If you can land on the Hydras, it's still going to be very nice, and it's still going to help wither down the health of Roaches. But stronger mortal counts are... Cause it's kind of funny, because actually, in a way, a lot of this is still going to just be kind of all the same for you know, as Erik times out. For Nice, a lot of the army composition is going to be fairly similar to what he would usually use against Lingbane Hydra, because Immortal, Archon, Charge, all that sort of thing is just so good in this matchup, no matter the composition of the Zerg. So we'll see if there are going to be any kind of few changes coming in from Nice versus what we might usually expect to see. As Erik is going to come back in here right now. We'll see him. He is looking as though he is back, as he is starting to lose some drones to DT in the third base, and that's a big mistake here. 10 workers going down, maybe coming in a bit of an unfortunate timing as he had a little bit of a lag. 11 workers dropped, and that's nice from Nice, no pun intended, but it is quite nice because it does allow him to take a bit of a worker lead here. And the more he slows Erik down, well, the less powerful Erik's attack is going to be, plus the less powerful Erik's remax is going to be after the initial fight. So Roaches and Hives will continue to give themselves over towards this third base here. A few more Hydras just rolling on in, a few more Roaches too. Rubber facility dropping from Nice to the right-hand side. A second one that is, of course, I'm just going to be adding on extra Immortals as he goes. Warpers around the top as well. Nice just playing as you'd expect a Protoss too, having some sort of presence on the map while building up that large, powerful army back at home. Generally, for for Protoss players, the way it works against the Zerg is that the later in the game it is, a bit of a better scenario you have if the Zerg is still on mid-tier tech, such as Hydra-based compositions. Roach Hydra being one of those. Hydra Lingbane has the exact same issue, where if you just stay on Hydra Lingbane or Roach Hydra forever, the Protoss army gets more and more powerful at dealing with it, just because larger numbers of the Protoss army just work so much better than the larger numbers of Roach Hydra. The Immortal damage output just grows, the Archon output grows, there's more Stormers available, there's more Force Fields available, and that sort of thing. Obviously it changes up a little bit when the tech of the Zerg player changes. For example, Lurkers can definitely change up that sort of scenario. Obviously moving into something like Broodlords would change that sort of scenario as well, and then you have a completely different stage in the game. But against this Hydra-based composition, the longer it goes on and the longer it sticks like this for the Zerg player, the better it's going to be for the Protoss. And that's why sometimes, like, Lingbane Hydra compositions will be looking to trade with the Protoss army early and keep on trading throughout, allowing him, allowing the Protoss to basically keep the tech, the number of tech units low, keep the eco low to stop the rebuilding of those again and again. I like this though, a little bit of multi-pronged harassment from Erik hinting to the Natural with this drop play, and actually this Natural taking a lot of damage. The main army pushing towards the front. He's already picked off one Archon over here, and the second Archon goes down pretty swiftly as well. Now we have High Templars and then Immortal in the back, not really joining in. Nice is starting to lose quite a lot here. Nice feedback and nice Storms as well, as those Hydras still pushing forwards. This army in the Natural is cleaned up as well. Ah man, those Storms did so much damage, and it really allows these Immortals now to just cleave their way through so many of these Hydras so easily. And there's a couple of Zealots will kind of warp in and charge forwards to keep the Immortals safe. Nice actually recovers from what was about a 60 or 70 army supply disadvantage to kind of make this a little bit more even at this stage. Lings actually coming across the reinforced. Hydras are still here. If the Lings are taking the damage and the Hydras aren't, this is dangerous for the Protoss, because those Hydras put out a lot of DPS if they're not disappearing. Now we're going to see Zealots warping in. These High Templar don't have Storm energy at the moment. That's obviously quite a big deal too. And well, Erik will just try and kite forwards and just try to do a little bit more before these Hydras go down, realizing he's probably going to lose them in the end. That was actually a pretty nice trade there in the end. It didn't look like it initially. It looked as though those Hydras were going to go down, but then he kills off a couple of extra High Templar and the Immortal as he pushes forwards. That's a nice little something there from Erik, but is it enough? This is a lot of army that Erik's throwing away time and time again to, okay, he is resetting the tech numbers of the Protoss player, but Nice is staying alive, and with 65 to 61 workers, that's where the difference may be. For Erik to be doing what he's doing right now, he should really be looking at having a much higher income advantage over the Protoss player than what he has. For the Protoss player, only being 300 income behind, well, he's like, okay, cool, you're trading so much less inefficiently than me, that doesn't matter. And yes, you're making my tech number, my number of tech units lower, but I've got double robo, my Immortals are coming out 2 at a time. Now, so we're just going to be seeing the couple extra High Templar warped in the back of this 4th base too. Lings, a couple of Hydras, and these Lurkers going to push on forwards here. This is going to be the next stage of this for Nice, which he's going to have to start figuring out how to deal with. He doesn't actually have detection in the forward position here just yet. He only has one observer on the map, which is down towards the 3rd base. So he has to try and figure out how to deal with this. And right now, his 4th Nexus is starting to take quite a lot of damage, and the Stormers will drop, but I mean, the Nexus is going to go down. There's no way for him to protect this. 2 observers on the way up, and Erik going to go Swarm Host behind this as well. Really playing some very interesting sort of follow-ups as he continues to also defend these counterattacks from the Warp Prism in his Natural expansion. Very well done there. Game shifting into a bit more Erik favor, and this is the sort of damage we need to see Erik doing to be in a bit of a better position this game. start shutting down the economy of Nice so that his income lead will jump to a little bit, something a bit higher than what it was. And that's where he's going to feel a lot more comfortable in terms of being able to trade. Also, those lurkers obviously allow him to trade a bit better than previously as well, so that naturally will help out too. That Hive still on the way up over in the main base here. More Zerglings on the way out, +2 melee on the way on the Evolution Chamber as well. Again, those Swarm Hosts, an interesting addition at this stage of the game. I'm intrigued to see what he does with them. Is he going to use them as kind of a harassment squad? I'm not sure, because he's going to send them around this side, where they can kind of be used as anything, right? I mean, you can bring your main army up here, and the Locusts can flank in from the right. You can hit the third base with them and use them as harassment. It's a little bit difficult to tell what exactly they're going to be used for right away here. It looks like they're just going to try and jump onto this Nexus, perhaps. Is the main army going to fight at the same time? Doesn't look like it. Pulling away to the left. Looks like he's just going to leave the Locusts to do their thing. And they're going to start targeting down this Nexus, but a Storm is good. The units are in position, and the Locusts don't really achieve too much here just yet. I mean, it's only 8 Swarm Hosts worth of Locusts against pretty much the entire Protoss army there in position. I mean, you shouldn't really expect them to do too much. The dangerous thing is, of course, the fact that those Swarm Hosts are still on the map, and any further attacks from those Swarm Hosts could obviously become a pretty big deal as well, as you're going to be seeing the Zealots and Archons actually coming in from a couple different angles. Those Hydras getting pulled, well, that's a little bit messy. Losing a lot of units here, a lot of valuable units. And Erik, that's something that's just not quite going as well as everything else has been going for him in the last few moments. Nice actually going to completely focus on this forward attack now. Warping in Zealots and a couple more Archons, while the Swarm Hosts are going to get ready to hit this 4th base again. It will probably just go down, the realistic situation here. But look at this, it's the main fight that will really matter. As we see Erik going to have to defend this if he wants to have a chance to stay in the game. Doesn't matter what his Swarm Hosts do back at home, because they're just going to run out of, the Locusts will expire too quickly to really do much more than killing the 4th base. And so Erik really has to find a way to clean up this army. But right now that's not happening. You can see, well, okay, the 4th Nexus might go down. Just the Locust numbers are going down. Actually, these Locusts will not get the kill. So far, it's just workers plus the fact that Nice still has this army pushing forwards. I just don't think those Swarm Hosts did enough here. And that combination of, investing into the Swarm Hosts plus losing a chunk of Hydras in the center of the map just meant that Nice had a little bit too much to push forwards with now. And we see as those Hydras pop out, they're just getting picked off so quickly. Now the Swarm Hosts have come back home, but I guess, they can join in the next fight. Is it worth? I guess for Nice it's kind of tough to kind of chase them down. The Swarm Hosts are fairly speedy compared to Immortals and Archons. They're going to be able to pull back in time. There we go, the Locusts will get ready to join this fight. The question is, when he drops these Locusts, are they going to be in the right position? Because Nice can of course just back away if he would like to. He's also got Archons to splash them down very quickly too. He might just go for a bit of both, and now he's going to catch Swarm Hosts trying to go up the ramp. Well, here we go, as these Locusts land, I think the Archons have just done enough already. The Swarm Hosts try and tank some damage, but the Hydras that are left over will not be enough either. And that will be Nice taking the first game of the day here. Rebuild Immortals very quickly. It's not commonly seen just because you want to kind of get a good mix of gateway-based units and Immortals and, say, Archons as well. And so there's no real need to have more than 2 Robos, because then you're just going to be, like, basically mass Immortal. So yeah, I guess even on kind of the... I guess even when you own, like, 60 to 70 workers, you just don't have the income available to realistically kind of go for more than 2 Immortals at a time. I think later games sometimes people add it in if they need to build up a kind of a lot of Immortals super quickly and they didn't already have that number, or maybe super late game when they have a bit of a bank, they can add an extra Robo so that they can rebuild very quickly if they kind of come out of a big fight with everything going down. All right, let's as we see this April coming in, let's get these hashtags up on the stream as well. Let me know if you're cheering on hashtag Erik, Blue Zerg by typing hashtag Erik in the chat. He's 12 pool in here in game number 2. Of this best of 3. To the bottom right hand side, Red Protoss player. Let's see if he can take game number 2. It's hashtag Nice in the lower right. Second game of this series. You just see this probe coming back across the map, obviously getting the nice scout earlier about the fact that this is indeed going to be this 12 pool. Obviously he saw the timing of the hatchery, etc., going to that base, and obviously saw the pool as well. So he knows exactly what this is. Alrighty, a Zealot out, some probes pulled to help him block off here at the front initially, help him just deny these Lings from getting in as a second Zealot comes up too. Obviously some lost mining time, but nice if he defends this without taking much damage. he gets into a very good position for the rest of the game. So he's starting to nibble away on this gateway. Nexus now comes down on the natural expansion too. Zelt and the Probe's still setting up, and there's the second Zelt coming out as well. Again, the Probe's coming forward to nibble. That's going to be a surround one of the Zelts though. That's a little bit of a nightmare for Knight. Is this still going to be going his way? Probe's repositioned just slightly. He's lost 2 now so far. He has cleaned out a lot of those lanes as Erik begins to drone up back at home. Adept on the way as well, obviously be, again, a big difference in this. If you look at that income tab, it's still been nice favored so far. That Zelt coming in once more, and there's the Adept too. There should be a save on the... Ooh, is the Zelt trapped? It is still trapped, even with only 3 lings alive. Nice catch there by Erik to get just a little bit more out of this at the very end. Resource loss is pretty even. The problem is, though, it still was nice. He was manning a little bit more throughout this game up until now. Erik's starting to get there in terms of his work. He can't, but as Nice gets his workers back into back onto the mineral lines. I think it'll even out a little bit. Nice does have his natural nexus coming up too, so in general, Nice held this off without kind of being too far behind or anything. You know, he hasn't really taken too much damage. He's not let Erik take a massive lead or so. As we do see the Queen coming forward, there's a couple of lings still falling back to the upper left. And there's Adept still coming across to have a look to see what it can get up to in the next few moments. Erik still a favorite in the chat, about a 60-40 result just there. So yeah, it was interesting to see Erik, one of the players who's obviously fairly well known, I imagine, in the Latin American scene. He's not really super well known outside of the Latin American scene, if you're not kind of a super hardcore SC2 fan, I would say. And as we're just going to be seeing this Queen and a couple of lings left to deal with this Adept, which is most importantly going to come in and try and scout the lair, which he does do. So nice info from Nice, and now you can get out of there without too much further issue. So yeah, Erik, a Brazilian player who really was on kind of quite a monumental rise for a little bit and then sort of dropped off and stopped rising as quickly as I kind of thought he would. But definitely a player to always be on the watch out for in the NA tournaments. He plays in Ladder Heroes a fair amount, obviously he plays in Copa America each season. Just one of the players I really thought was actually going to be, right now, I feel as though he should have been a bigger thing already. Just hasn't made it so far. TK is coming up on the natural, going to see this Bane Nest and the Infestation Pit dropping down. Overlord is going to be on the way up here on the natural too, and obviously not really too exciting. It's the Infestation Pit that really is kind of interesting at this point. This lair came out quickly, of course. The third hatch just now going down. One of the big deficits of coming out of a 12 pool that is something that kind of makes it look as though you're sort of even, but you're not, is the lack of a third hatchery. The third hatch will come down much later than it usually would, and that's something which really does kind of set you a bit further behind than people oftentimes realize. So as the Infestation Pit finishes up, what's it going to be? Swarm Host yet again? Yes, it is. There we go. 5 Swarm Hosts on the way. And it is kind of what makes sense. Fast Infestors against Protoss doesn't really make too much sense, you know. Fungal growths just don't really do what you need it to. And, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how he uses these Swarm Hosts. Now, the Swarm Hosts last game, I do feel as though didn't really do enough, but obviously they came in at a very different phase of the game. Phase of the game where Nice already had a large army, and he was able to get himself into a counter-attacking position very easily and very quickly after the first wave of Locusts to make it so the second wave of Locusts had to do a lot of damage to make up for the fight which Nice was taking across the map, and obviously they just didn't really do that. Obviously that created some not so pretty scenarios, as we do see the Oracles. 2 of them are out. First one didn't do too much here. Swarm's going to start moving forwards now. If Nice is throwing down 2 more Stargates, I am a little bit worried about these Swarm Hosts being able to do anything, because if these Oracles find the Swarm Hosts on the map, they are going to go down so quickly. And I mean so quickly. If they're just on their own and the Oracles find them, they can just target them down, no problem at all. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. As you do see, first couple of drones going to start dropping here. 3 or 4 workers already going down, a couple of Queens. So I'm able to push the Oracles back. Neither of them lost. Here you go, the Swarm Host is going to be seen now for the first time. And Nice will just pull back. What do the Swarm Hosts go for, though? If they land on this pylon, they're not necessarily going to do what they need to do, which is sort of major damage towards the Nexus or so. There you go, dropping down. You're going to see the Oracle activated to try and save the day. He needs to try and get rid of these Locusts before they get the Nexus kill. He does actually have a Void Ray, which he's added into play as well. And again, now the Swarm Hosts have to be super careful, because if they are found out on the map, by those Sky units. They just can't fight back. And that's obviously where the issues do all begin. Few Swarmers moving over to the right-hand side. The Warp Prism from Nice comes to the north side of the map too, and it's going to see Oracles actually all found by some Hydras here. More Swarmers being made as well though, and that's kind of one of my issues. Oracles are one of these units which really benefit from kind of having the numbers advantage and hitting their critical mass in numbers very quickly. And I think if you're kind of already investing money into Swarm Hosts rather than just pure Hydras, you very quickly run into trouble in terms of being able to, you know, kind of trade properly and being able to have a way to have enough Hydras to fight against those Oracles. And so far the Swarm Hosts, all they've done is brought the main base low on health, then the third base low on health. They've not actually done any true damage, you know, they've not killed off any workers, they've not killed off a pylon, they've done nothing. And okay, you might argue they've killed a bit of Oracle energy, they've distracted the Protoss player. That's not what they've been built to do here. Now, this is what I'm worried about. Swarmos on the map just found by the Oracles, and immediately, look how quickly they're going to go down. There's one, there's two. I mean, how many more is he going to get before the Hydras come in? 3 of them? I mean, it's just so many to be picked off then. A nice revelation will catch not just the Hydras, but a couple Swarm Hosts too, keeping an eye on where they might move next, which basically makes them unusable, right? If you know where they're going to be heading to, you just send your Oracles there, and you're going to kill them before they can use their Locusts. And so now Erik is in this position where he can't use his Swarm Hosts, and they're basically acting as dead weight until he actually gets into a fight, which, again, are the Swarm Hosts going to be that useful in an upcoming fight? Well, probably not, because the only thing you have to fight are these Oracles that are flying around in the sky. Now, there is Infestors coming up, and Pathogen Glands has been researched, and so the idea of moving in toward a set of fungal growths to help against these Oracles is definitely there, and that's a threat which Nice has to be very cautious of. Setting up his own 4th base gold to the right side of the map. He just set a stasis ward up to watch for the 4th base coming down of his opponent, try and delay that when possible. Another revelation, and again, just going to be those Swarm Hosts just sat there still. Oracles do fly in. We are going to be seeing one Oracle going down too. There's the there's the catch on the fungal growth though. Now only so many Oracles actually able to join the fight at a time against these Hydras. Which is still not terrible though for Nice. I still feel as though he came out of this with a fairly decent trade. I mean, what did he lose? I mean, resource loss is 3k to 3k. Yeah, I mean, that sort of feels okay. What was the army drops? It's pretty significant from either side. Lost a few Swarm Hosts there. Lost one of the 2 Infestors as well, right? Lost 2 of the 3 actually. So that's kind of expensive too. That's something which has to be replaced. While they're being replaced, they aren't regenerating energy, for example. It's nice pickoffs. And again, the Swarm Host count is what now, like 2 or 3? 3 Swarm Hosts are nowhere near as dangerous as they used to be. Okay, they'll still rip to shreds a mineral line, but all the probes have to do is pull away, and the Nexus isn't exactly in much danger to 6 Locusts banging away at it for a few seconds. Who knows where those Hydras still are. Will not take the fight just yet, maybe feeling as though his Oracle count, taking some losses last fight, may not be ready to actually take a larger fight again just yet. See this Nexus is, again, nicely set up now, and Erik still only on the 3 bases, has to do something about this base, or start taking his own 4th base very, very soon. I mean, he's going to take the 4th base now, but even then, he still has to do something, because that's such a late 4th, and of course, it's not just any old 4th. Nice is mining off of gold minerals now, so his income is really starting to skyrocket into his favor. We talked about it a bit last game. Protoss has to find a way to trade effectively against this Protoss. Zerg has to find a way to trade effectively against the Protoss. Otherwise, the Protoss compositions are just way too powerful. Just 2 Oracles to activate their Pulsar Beam to help turn these units away. Revelation looking for a fungal growth, or an Infestor burrowed down there, doesn't find it. Infestors have already backed off with the rest of the army, currently pulling back towards a more centralized position on the map. Charge on the way, and a fierce few Zealots have been added in as well from Nice now. As he sets up into his mid-game. I love this Warp Prism across the map. Just some Zealots going to drop onto this base, and he's actually going to warp a few more in as well, and that's going to pull Erik back to this top side, and of course that keeps him distracted. It keeps him at home rather than looking for fights, while Nice is setting up into more and more upgrades and so on that will just continue to help him out in the fights, such as Charge, more Oracles, etc, etc. Nice, continue to put himself in a very strong position. The 4th base on the gold is going to go down as well. It's just not going to be any help here in time, and so that hatchery will die, and the Zealots have been successful in their job. I mean, okay, 7 Zealots for hatchery, but they're also going to get a bunch of Zerglings here as well. I mean, they really have traded out nicely, and keeping Erik on a lack of economy at this stage is only going to benefit the Protoss play even further, continuing to move on forwards. You can see a lot of these oracles up top, and I mean, they can cancel this base or kill this base if they'd like to. They can move in and just go into the main, which might just be pretty deadly. I mean, they've got so much energy, actually, some of these, because they haven't really done anything for a long time. I mean, I think they should just go in towards the main base and continue. Locust into the main of the Protoss right now. The main army is actually coming across the map, and so maybe that's one thing wants to be a bit cautious of. He actually got rid of the few Hydras in the main, so now the Warp Prism can come in there. Maybe actually pull him back with this army is the clever thing to do. Get ready to deal with what is obviously a lot of Hydras on this side of the map. Lurker 2 mixed in, but with enough Zealots to kind of lead the charge, shouldn't really be too much of an issue. I'm surprised that these Oracles are fighting without the Zealots to support them, because this is a lot of Hydralisks, and well, I feel as though if you had the Zealots, obviously the Hydras don't trade anywhere near as well against these Oracles, and that was a little bit of a throwaway. I think by Nice loses every single one of his Oracles. Okay, I mean, Zealots can come and join the fray now, or try to. I guess they could get Funnel Growth out of position. The Mothership just finishing, cloaking up these units. I see one cannon on the high ground poking away. And, well, let's see how this goes. Again, a few Lurkers here will do a lot. Is there actually detection? It looks as though there is detection for the Protoss. So just going to be seeing though that Fungal Growth combo was deadly. And Erik suddenly looking very good here in game 2. Again, why did Nice fight without the Zealots? It doesn't really make sense. Obviously, maybe just overconfidence. Completely misread the number of Hydras. But that was a fight where if he had the Zealots in, he kills the Hydras so much more quickly, and then he has an overwhelming number of Oracles to clean up everything else afterwards. The Lurkers will go down, reinforcing Hydras won't be enough. Now we see Zealots warping into the main, and that's Erik's new issue, having to deal with these warpings in the main, because obviously the majority of his army is over on this side of the map. Zealots will charge into a few Hydras which have just finished building, and well, that's the issue, right? This is the problem with Protoss warpings. They're so powerful in lowish numbers because the Zerg army just doesn't trade well against these Zealots, and the Zealots trade super effectively, even in low numbers. Infestus is going to use the Infested 10 to try and help get rid of this base, but it might survive. It's going to be pretty close, actually. Zealots still going huge in the main. Lurker Den will go down. That means no more Hydras as well, of course. Let's go Polo 2 starting to head down as well. This will be a cleanup by the Zerg, but it took him a little while, and there's definitely a way in which Nice just helps himself out moving forwards a little while longer. Gets one final Hydra towards the end, and Nexus did fall on the 4th base. Erik just now with his own 4th base and the gold up as well. What's actually on the map at the moment? Only 6 Oracles. They're not going to be too useful. Moving into more so kind of focus on the Zealots and Archons. I mean, the 6 Oracles will still have some uses, but maybe not so many when there's so many Hydras on the map. He is going to lose this Prism just before those Zealots warp in, but he'll lose a few Hydras for the Prism kill. And that's a pretty big deal as well. Now these Swarm Hosts are going to be caught in a bit of an awkward spot here. The Oracles are actually not even going to be needed to help out. A few Locusts do come out, but they do absolutely nothing, as Nice still pushing forwards. And does Erik have enough? I mean, this is just going to show how far behind Erik was, even when he kills all of the Oracles. Not for free, but in a very kind of one-sided fight, a very beneficial fight, pretty much the best fight he was going to get. Even when he kills all the Oracles like that, he still struggles to deal with the follow-up of the Protoss here. As we're going to see, Zealots going to charge on the forwards. These Infestors do not have Fungal Growth energy just yet, as you see the Fungal Growth coming down just now on a few of those Oracles, but the Zealots are still pushing on forwards. A lot of these Banes going down before anything else can really be done. And now there's not many Hydras left, and these Oracles, even though in low numbers, are going to help win out the fight on the ground. And Erik just does not have enough at all. This is going to be GG, and it looks as though Nice is going to take game number 2. He's going to take the first series of the day here on the WardiTV America's Open.